all, thank you for joining me in my kitchen for the last of our burger madness. This time we are making an awesome Asian inspired fish burger. I can't wait for you to try it. So we're gonna start like we have with the other burgers with the food processor. The first thing that's going into the food processor is our fish. Now y'all can dip any kind of fish for this. I want a white fish though, not anything oily like salmon. So cod, halibut, haddock, whatever you can find. This is actually my mahi that I got frozen at the Kroger, and it's about a pound, and all I did was cut it into some chunks so that it'll incorporate well with everything else in my food processor. So first, there goes my fish. Next up, just like the other sliders we've made, I've got an egg here. This one only calls for one egg, and look at that golden yolk. It's a pasture-raised egg, so that's so bright and gold. So right into the food processor. Next up, I've got some chopped green onions. I'm gonna cook these green onions, so I have the white part of the green onion and the green part in here together. That's about a quarter cup, but you can find all the measurements on the recipe. I've got some sesame seeds here. Remember I said it's Asian inspired? So sesame seeds are gonna go right in here, a couple of tablespoons. This is one of my favorite Asian ingredients, toasted sesame oil. Now you notice this one says toasted on it. I bought it at the regular grocery store. I like the toasted or dark sesame oil or black sesame oil. You know, there's lots of different kinds of sesame seeds and there's lots of different kinds of sesame oils. The one that says black or toasted or roasted is gonna be the deepest, darkest, richest flavor. And oh my gosh, y'all, these 2 teaspoons of sesame oil are gonna add so much flavor. So a couple teaspoons of sesame oil. And then last but not least, I'm gonna use some tamari. You can use soy sauce, you can use tamari, you can use Bragg's amino acids, you could even use coconut amino acids. I just want that soy sauce flavor, that umami, that flavor of richness. This one is actually a reduced sodium tamari, so that's a good thing too. So I'm gonna put in about a tablespoon of soy sauce in here. And that kind of, I need another bottle. Kind of got me out of soy sauce here, or tamari. And then last but not least, I've got some panko breadcrumbs. You know, I talked to Shayna, our dietitian today, about what could be a substitute for panko breadcrumbs. And you could use oatmeal, you can use rice. The only problem with it is it's gonna make a denser burger. And I like the light and fluffiness of the panko. So if you can find panko, which I found a whole bunch in my grocery store just around the corner the other day, use the panko breadcrumbs instead of any of the other substitutes that you see. So this is about 3/4 of a cup, I believe. And again, you'll see that in the recipe. So there are all my ingredients for my burger. I'm gonna stack up my little glass bowls here and set them aside. And then I'm gonna start my food processor. And what I'm gonna wanna do when I process this is I don't wanna make a puree out of this. I wanna use the pulse feature and pulse it to make a choppy or coarse mixture. So here we go. And this is gonna be a little bit drier mixture than you may have experienced if you've made, or actually even seen on our other 2 videos with the veggie burgers. I think I've got it almost, there we go. Okay, so this is what you're looking for. Okay, let's see if I can get it up. There we go. This is what you're looking for. Can you see that there's still big chunks in here? That's gonna give you a lot of fish flavor when you bite into one of those chunks, and it's also gonna make a good texture for your fish burger or slider. It sounds better to say slider, doesn't it? Instead of fish burger. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get on some plastic gloves. So I'm gonna grab some out right here. And it's easier to do any of these sliders with some plastic gloves than it is just just with clean hands. Although you could do it with just clean hands, but I like using the gloves for this. And I'll pull out a piece of wax paper so that I can put my slider on there. So this doesn't make quite as many as some of the other two recipes that we made earlier this week. This is going to make about 10 to 12 sliders, or about 6 to 8 if you make them a little bigger burgers. So this is all you're going to do is just take out of your food processor just like this, and then you're going to put them on a parchment lined sheet tray. You're going to pop them in the you know what? I also do, after I form the burgers, I do like to put them in the fridge for a little while, just because it kind of makes them all soak up all the ingredients, like the panko kind of soaks up the fish flavor, and sesame oil and soy sauce here. So I do suggest putting them in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes before you put them in your preheated 350-degree oven. So on a parchment lined sheet tray, make your little, I like them about this size. They're not going to shrink very much. They're not going to expand very much. So you can get 12 to 16, depending on the size, on a regular sheet tray. So that's what I do. And let me show you, I just took some out of the oven a little bit ago. So I'm going to take off my gloves, and I'll set my food processor aside, and I'll make up the rest of those burgers in just a minute. And I like this recipe a lot because then you hit the little crunchy chunks of the green onion and the little pop of the sesame seed. So here we go. I took the fish burgers out. Let me grab them. So this is what they look like when they come out of the oven. Of course, I've taken this out about 10 minutes ago, otherwise I wouldn't be able to touch the sheet tray. So don't touch it with your bare hands if it's still hot. So here, this is what they look like. So I cooked them for about 10 minutes and then checked them and then flipped them over. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna make some mango slaw to go on top of these yummy burgers. So I'm gonna set this aside. So hang on with me for just a minute. And then I'm gonna grab my ingredients for my mango slaw. Now you can use papaya, you could use mangoes, you could use pineapple, you could use anything to make this beautiful slaw. And here's my start. I started with Napa cabbage. I've got some grated carrot in here, and then I've got some papaya, some mango, okay? So, but first things first, let's make our dressing. And the dressing is super easy because it's one of our jar dressings. We love jar dressings. So I'm gonna start with a little bit of turmeric, okay? We put in turmeric into things whenever we can because we know how good it is for us. So there's my turmeric. I've got a little lime juice. So that's the juice of a lime and a little lime zest. And my microplane really took a workout on this dressing recipe because I used it not only for my lime zest, which is going in right now. There we go. But I also used it for my garlic clove. So there goes my garlic. And I used it for my ginger. Okay, so I have a little bit of ginger here, about a tablespoon. You know, I always guesstimate that an inch of ginger, an inch of peeled ginger is about a tablespoon of ginger. So there we go, we've got those ingredients in there. I'm gonna put a little bit of parsley in it. I like the parsley in here because it adds some more color to our mango slaw. Then the other thing I'm gonna add in here is just a little bit of minced red onion. And when I say minced, I've chopped this pretty finely. With all the lime juice and the other ingredients in here, it's not a strong onion taste. It's just delicious. So there goes my red onion. 2 more ingredients. I have a little bit of hot sauce. That's Louisiana hot sauce in there. It's not Tabasco, so I used about a teaspoon. You can use less if you want. And then finally, last but not least, I've got some honey. I've got about a tablespoon of honey, and that honey is just gonna sing with that lime juice, the ginger, the garlic. So there we go. There's our ingredients for our dressing for the salad. And you can see it doesn't make a lot, but that's all right, because a little of this dressing is going to go a long, long way. So I'm going to put it all together in my jar, and I'm going to set it aside for a moment. Wow, oops, you know what I forgot? I forgot my salt and pepper. Okay, especially since we're using turmeric, we absolutely want to make sure we get some ground black pepper in there, because that pepper helps activate the good stuff in the turmeric, the curcumin. So there's my black pepper. Here is just a little bit of sea salt. Now I'm going to shake it again. And then I'm going to set it aside for a moment while I talk about what's in my bowl right here. So remember I said Napa cabbage. So first off, I want to show you, Napa cabbage is that cabbage that you get in the grocery store that's long and cylindrical. I've cut it in half, haven't washed it yet, took off some of the gnarly outside leaves, but once I've cut it in half, I'm going to put it down on my board and literally just walk my knife right through the Napa cabbage. Just like that. I have these beautiful shreds now of Napa, and you know what I'm going to do with it? I'm going to take it now, put it in my salad spinner, and spin it clean. That way I can get all the different layers of the Napa cabbage clean. And you know, speaking of clean, I didn't mention when I zested and juiced my lime for this, oh my gosh, y'all, you always want to use organic citrus when you are zesting the outside. Now, let's talk mango. I'm going to put this to the side, and I'm going to put this over here because I have not washed that yet, and I don't want to put it in with my beautiful, clean, washed Napa. Okay, so first of all, whenever I'm cutting something, speaking of clean, whenever I'm cutting something like this, I always wash it first. But the reason I have got so many mangoes out here is because I wanted to show you the difference between a mango that we usually see in the grocery store, which a lot of times you'll hear them called island mangoes or Jamaican mangoes, and a smaller mango that's called a champagne mango, a Filipino mango, an Altufo mango. There are lots of different varieties of mangoes. We only get a few here in the United States. But since I can find this one quite often now, I like it because it's less fibrous than the big mango. But I want to quickly show you how to cut your mango so that you don't wrestle with it, because I don't want you to have to do that. First of all, there is always a stem end on that mango. We're going to cut this just like we cut the regular big one. So that stem end is going to go right, I know this is silly, but I'm going to put it right at my nose. And you know, the mango pit is like this. So I want to cut down on either side of the mango pit. And to do that, I am going to take my knife at about 2 inches, half an inch from that stem. I'm going to take my knife and slide it right down the side. And then I'm going to turn it around and do the same thing again. There we go. Now, I'm going to set those two things aside, and I'm going to just slice around the pit. Here we go. And there we go. And now I've got just the pit left, and I haven't wasted a lot of the mango. Now, to chop the mango, and you know, I always tell you this, but I think it's kind of funny. Mango has anatomy. There are cheeks of the mango, and there's shoulders. And actually, in some cuisines, they don't even call for parts of the mango other than the cheeks or the shoulders. I love that. So what I'm going to do now is take the mango cheek and put it on the board, and then all I'm doing is making some cuts in it, just vertically, and then I'm going to take a big spoon, and I'm going to take my spoon and go right through it. That's how I slice the mango. Okay, so if I needed mango slices, that's exactly what I would do. Let me move this back so you can see it a little bit better. So those are mango slices. But if I want to chop the mango, what I'm going to do is make slices in both directions, just like this. And now I'm going to take my spoon again and just run it right in there. Look at that. Now I've got chopped mango, and I can add that mango to my beautiful salad. And of course I'm not going to waste any of this mango. I'm going to slide that aside. I'm going to grab my salad, and I'm going to grab a set of tongs. So one sec. I've got my tongs now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my salad dressing, and when I set it aside, it got even a little bit more juicy. And I'm going to put this beautiful salad dressing right on top of my mango slaw and toss up my slaw. Oh my gosh, you guys, it smells so good. That lime, that papaya, even the carrots smell good and fresh. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my burgers, which I've already got my buns out, and I'm going to grab those burgers. And I'm going to take a burger and put it on the bottom of each bun here. I've got 3 of them. Yum! Okay, these are a little bit bigger than slider size, but you could absolutely do sliders with these too. Then I'm going to take my papaya slaw and put it right on top of my slider. Oh my gosh, you guys. This looks so good, and it's so colorful, and it truly does look very Asian inspired. You can smell that little bit of lime juice. And of course the Napa cabbage is pretty on here. And look at the colors on these. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to food style it so it'll look beautiful, but it does just look beautiful because of the colors in it. Then all I have to do is top these little burgers with their buns, and I am ready to serve up my fish burgers. I hope you've enjoyed joining us for our 3 burgers in Burger Madness. They're a little bit different. They're all really easy and really fun. And plus, the most important thing is they're beautiful and delicious. I look forward to seeing y'all again in the real kitchen and getting to have you in class. But until then, good cooking, have fun in the kitchen, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon.